Hello everyone, Agent X007 here. Now in this video I will show you how to install NVMe bootable Windows 7 installation. Now this is the board and system I'm using today. We have P4i945GC motherboard with P1.30 BIOS version. We have the Pentium 4 3.2 GHz Prescott CPU, and this is the PGA 478 socket, together with paired with 4 GB of DDR2 memory. Now I overclocked the CPU so that it won't take as long, I hope. Okay, these are the settings I'm using. Okay. Hard drive. This is a Raptor X 150 GB version. It's basically 10,000 RPM, so I'm not cheating here. If I'm booting from this drive, you will hear it, believe me. Now this board does not support HCI protocol, so it's IDE only, unfortunately. Well, it will help in Windows Mini that I will have to use, but that's going to be in a bit. And as you can see, there is no NVMe drive detected. No wonder. It's floppy drive is active, and USB. Yeah. 49C. Usual stuff. Hard drive, there's only one drive, and there's only one floppy. No CD-ROMs or anything like that. Okay, now let's exit this. Now the end product will look like this. As you can see, this is Clover software. Let me adjust this a bit. Okay. Now, to the fun stuff. So, we have add to benchmark. Yes. There we go. And if I do this, as you can see, there are 3 partitions: Windows 7, Clover, and Raptor X, the rest of the drive. When I go to System, Create and Format, you will see them as well. This is the Raptor X drive. It's, as you can see, MBR edition mode, so partition style. Okay. And when I do this, this is our NVMe. As you can see, it works, and it's in GPT mode, or GPT partition style, I should say. Now this is partition style that's not supported by BIOS or legacy options BIOS in newer boards. So I'm using Clover software to take care of the booting sequence. As you can see, this is the boot drive, page file, crash dump, and primary partition all in one, and this is the FE partition that's created if you're installing anything on GPT system wise, OS wise, in Windows at least. Okay, we can close this, close this, close this. Quick test, or not so quick. So we have the C drive. This will be faster, I think, than Atto. Okay. I'm using one test, one instance per test, so it should be quite fast. Now 900 megabytes per second, that's not something you normally will see on this kind of system. As you can see, this is the Prescott core, 1 megs of level 2. This is the motherboard, ASRock, memory, SPD isn't detected, and this is my graphics card I'm using. Not important right now, but at least in this situation, but should mention that. Okay, 700 megabytes per second, 720 almost. In the write test, and the last one, write 4 kilobytes. Okay, we're done. Now a bit like this. I hope you can see this better now. Those scores are impossible without NVMe drives. Completely normal HDs and even SSDs on SATA connections cannot do this. It's simply not possible. Can I do? Yeah. Okay, let's do like that. Again, for those that use lower resolutions to seeing, you can pause the video in any moment if you want. Now this is the Clover drive I'm using. Normally you can use it with pendrives, but I say pendrives are better used when they are mobile. You can put them in the system and get them out, and hard drives are usually staying in place. So why would I want to use a pendrive when I can use this thing? Okay, this is the NVMe drive. It's Samsung SM961, 256 gigabytes version. It's really fast. Normally it should run in PCIe 3.0 X4 mode. So it's 1/4 of the total capabilities of this drive. So this drive did 900 megabytes here and 800 megabytes in sequence. In actual tests on the PCIe 3.0 X4, this 900 would be 3.1 gigabytes, if I remember correctly, and this should be 1.4 gigabytes. So that's how much performance gets clipped because I'm using PCIe 1.0. Still, not bad, because this board does not support SATA 3, so max this board can do is around 270 megabytes per second on the SATA connectors. So yeah, we have 3 times as much read speed on the Q32 test, and 2.5 in the sequential read speed. Now the crucial part are these ones, the 4K and 4K Q52. This is the most important for Windows OS and other systems. This is the small file test. Hard drives will get 1 megabytes, 2 megabytes, and this one does 50 megabytes. So yeah, and SSDs also can do this on the SATA connection, but they are incapable of doing this kind of read speed and write speed. Now this is the NVMe drive. So how the hell I can make it work on this board? Well, I basically using non-standard programs to get this. So let's close this, and I will show you now how you can do it and what you will need to do this. Okay, in the description to this video I will add a link to this folder packed in WinRAR or WinZip on 7-zip, doesn't matter. You unpack it and you will get, without these two, something like this. Those are the tools you will need to make this possible. So starting from up, we get BDU. This is boot disk utility, and this program is used for Clover installation. I will talk about this in a bit, because I also want to show you how to create the pen drives you will need for this to work. So this is the Clover installation program. Next we have FE boot file for Windows 7 x64 edition. This is for Service Pack 1. I did not test this with without SP1 pre-installed in installator for Windows 7. So this file will be replaced on the pen drive that you will use, and I will show you where it is and so on. Now, of course, we will need NVMe drivers for this, so I downloaded Intel, OCZ Toshiba drivers, Plextor Light On, and Samsung I will be using today. Next up we have Windows XP HCI drivers, just in case. I'm using also Hiren's boot 15.2, this, and Windows 7 Service Pack 1 ISO file. This is the 64-bit edition. Okay, let's zoom it a bit. Okay. So we have our programs, and the last one is Rufus version 2.16p. Latest I got for now, and this is 13th of August 2017. So this will record the ISO files from Hiren's boot and Windows 7 on the pen drives that we will be using for installation, and yeah, that's basically it. So most of the work I did for you. Let's move forward. So we need 2 pen drives for this operation, let's call it. So I'm using one 4 GB pen drive. It's basic pen drive, nothing exceptional about it. This is good RAM 4 GB. This will be the Hiren's boot pen drive. Now basically you insert it in USB port. Hello, we have the pen drive. Now when you have this, you use Rufus. I'm using the run as administration option just in case. And this is the Rufus after it sees the pen drive. This already has the Hiren's boot loaded, but I will format it so that you can see it works basically. Okay, we will use, I'm changing this to English. We will use partition scheme for MBR, for BIOS or UEFI. We will select from this option the Hiren's boot ISO file. This can be downloaded from Hiren's boot page. I will show it after I did the whole thing. We will using this file only. We don't use this for now. At least I don't need it. So we have this selected. Create bootable disk using ISO file. Quick format, because if you don't do this, it will take a long time for this USB to be ready. And crucial thing is MBR partition scheme for BIOS and UEFI CSM. This is the most important part. You need to check this and pick the ISO. This is all. Of course, if you have more than one pen drive installed, this is the part you will need not to format the wrong drive. Okay, so we have everything selected and correctly set. We click start. Of course, there is a warning that this will kill anything that's on the drive, no problem. Cleared it and write it. Now we have a few minutes, so I will try to keep you guys entertained. If you don't want to listen to me, you can skip this part. Okay, for those who want to stay, I will tell you why I choose to do this. Well, this is NVMe we're talking about. This is the fastest drives you can currently get, and running them on PGA 478 socket. This is the last socket Intel used pins for CPUs. Here's a oh crap, wait a second, some light, there you go. Oh. Sorry, thermal paste still on it. There. I don't know how good you can see it, but this is a 478 CPU and it has pins. This is a Pentium 4 3.2 GHz Northwood, just for your information. Now that CPU cannot support this because NVMe requires 64-bit Windows. Why? I don't know, but Windows 7 x86 or Vista or Windows XP cannot support it. Now, for NVMe to work, you also need an FE BIOS. FE BIOS is required because without it there is no way the motherboard can see the NVMe drive for the booting options. So it doesn't know it's there, basically. So going along with that, you need, if you don't have the UEFI, you need a third-party program that takes care of this. Of course, not every program is user-friendly. I'm using Clover because I think it's the easiest one to set up, and that's why I'm doing this guide, because it's really not that complicated, but you need a few things figure out, because there are guides out there, written guides for this, but they require a bit of tinkering. Okay. What next? This is almost done, I see. Right. If you want to boot Windows from NVMe, this NVMe must be formatted to GPT partition style. Now, why is that? Because Microsoft requires it. You can't install... Okay, we're done here. Now, I will be back to my thought if I don't forget about it. But we have the Hiren's boot ready. As you can see, this is it. Nothing fancy, but this is all we need. Now, the second part is a bit more complex, because this time we will be using Windows 7 desktop, Windows 7 ISO file. I'm using not modded one. This is the basic stuff, SP1 only, and x64 is the most important part. You can use any other ISO file, but it must be 64-bit. If it's not 64-bit, it will not work, basically. And the Rufus will give you error when you try to change this. So in Rufus, after we pick our Windows 7 ISO file, we need to change this partition scheme from MBR partition for BIOS or UEFI CSM to MBR partition scheme for UEFI only. This MBR partition scheme for UEFI is the most compatible one, and that's why I'm using it. You can also use GPT partition for UEFI, but this may pose a problem if Windows installer goes nuts and tries to keep the boot partition on the pendrive. So this prevents that, because MBR partition cannot be used in FE installation. Okay, so we have MBR partition. Now we need to change the file system to FAT32, as default is here. Default also okay. Quick format, create this ISO file we will be using, and create extensive labels. Yeah, it's okay, it can be there. Now let's start this. Oh, come on, man. This. Okay. Again, yes, I'm sure. 32 gig. Not to miss that out. Okay. Again, if you're not interested in this history, you can skip this. Now back to my original thought. GPT drive. So if you try to use GPT drive on Windows XP, you will not see it at all. It won't be even readable for it. Windows Vista SP2, I think, 64-bit edition, can read it, but I don't think it can write to it. I'm not sure right now. And the last one, Windows 7, can write to it, I think, as you can see, basically. So yeah, it can. Okay, so that's it. Yeah. Oh, if you want to copy what I'm doing, not all PGA 478 CPUs can do this. Basically, you need a 64-bit processor. This is a requirement and you cannot bypass it. If you have a CPU that's exactly as mine and it does not support 64 bits, you're screwed. You can't do this. If you have a motherboard that can't support 64-bit and you have a CPU that can support 64-bit, you cannot do this. This is basically the most ridiculous setup you can use and make this work. Just to show you guys again. Now, storage can be a problem. Yes, there it is. This is the CPU I'm using. This is a PGA 478 again. It has pins, but this is, I think, one of the two models that support 64-bit instructions. As you can see, EM64T. This is the most important part for the NVMe drives, at least on Windows. Yeah, you can try on the other CPUs, but I doubt you will succeed. Now, this is an universal tools. Those are universal tools, so they will work in any 64-bit CPU, until, of course, with Windows in mind. I mean, Windows 10 can't be installed on this machine because this machine does not support XD-bit or NX-bit or the antivirus hardware that's built in Pentium 4s with, I think, J? Yeah, Pentium 4, 570J and so on, and later ones. And also, this is not supported on PGA 478. That's LGA 775 function, as far as I know. Okay, that's this. This is this. How long we? Oh, not much. It's going good. Now this is a overclock CPU. Again, ASRock. This board is really unusual because normal PGA 478 boards does not have a PCI Express port, and as you can see, this one has it. Now, I'm using the long PCI Express 16 slot on this board for the drive itself, so that I get the most gigabytes, or in this case megabytes per second transfer speeds, and graphics card is linked, as you can see here, to the X1 port on this board. And why this works? Because I'm using the mining riser cards, basically riser PCIe risers. Now I'm using the 1 to X16 with additional power plug into it. This is the one that uses the USB 3.0 cable and controllers to transfer stuff. This is the more reliable one. Yeah. Damn, English can be hard. Okay. Reliable. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I don't recommend running this card on X1. This will kill the performance, but we will not need it right now. This is only guide for the installation, so yeah. Okay, we're almost ready. Yes, we are ready. This is the second part that's really important, so listen carefully. After both pen drives are done, you will have to copy on the Windows installation pen drive. You have to copy a file, FE boot file for Windows 7 from folder in my NVMe Pack, so this one, and replace the old file that's here. As you can see, this one is from 2010 and it's too old to work with anything basically. And this one is from 2017 and it will work with anything basically. Okay, so click and copy, and we want to replace it. Yes, and this is it. Now next thing we will need are the NVMe drivers, so we copy those, and the HCI drivers just in case. Now those drivers should be on the floppy, any floppy, because we will be using Windows XP Mini from the Hiren's boot install the Clover. I'm using this because not all of you can plug the hard drive and the NVMe to working system to install and do all of this, or don't want to. I don't judge. So I'm using this, and oh, readme file is also important to copy and you will see that in a moment, and BDU. Oh, I'm copying it. Oh wow, oh well. Okay, cut and paste. Okay, now we are done for this, just in case. Okay, so this is done, this is done. I copied the files. Now readme file, you can't see anything, so font bold 1, 24. Oh yeah, much better. So let's do this. Now this is the file, readme file. You will be able to open. Now I will put the link to this video here. It's not there because I'm recording it right now. So next thing, warning, you need to copy these files not to forget, I did the second point already, but you will get the chance to do this even if you don't have the Windows installed and drives are clean. I will show you guys that how to do this in a bit. Okay, now Clover is the next part we will need to do. So we close this, restart, unplug the pen drive. Now I will wipe my hard drives clean so that you will see what I will see, or I will see what you will be seeing. Now this is a pen drive I did a while back. This is the clean Windows 7 64-bit edition with Service Pack 1. Oh, and I should do this so that you can see the progress bar. Okay. Now I will show you how to create partitions and wipe whole drive clean, or wipe as in completely erase the partition table on it. This will basically nuke it, but not as much as to completely destroying the data on it, because this is the easy clean if you have a virus. So if you do this, virus is dead. Okay, now for this to work you will need to load NVMe drivers. So we will do the install. Oh, yeah, browse. We will need drivers, so come on, there it is. So we go to NVMe drivers, we need Samsung ones, and here we got them. Wiping NVMe isn't easy, at least with Windows 7. And as I said before, Windows 10 and Windows 8 will not work on this platform, so this is the only thing I can use. And I am using not the modified versions of the installators, so I need to pick my drivers manually every time. Okay, we have the drivers loaded, so we can cancel this and we go to repair. Now we will be using the recovery tools. No, we don't want to do this. Recovery tools. Next. And command prompt. Yes, we all love it, I know. I will do a bit bigger letters so that you can see it better. Now we will use this part. This is a software. This is a program that's in Windows installation, in any Windows installation on, I think, from Vista, but I'm not sure. I think there might be the Windows XP version, but regardless, we will list disk. As you can see, we have 3 disks. This is the NVMe. This is our pen drive with the NVMe drivers, and the first one is our Raptor X. So I'm wiping 2 of the drives, so I will select disk 0 first. This is the Raptor, and if I again check list, this is now marked as selected, and if I type clean, it will wipe the drive. Now we select the second drive. We want to select disk 2 that we want to wipe, and again check if this is the right drive. Oh, this is it. Yes, it's marked as disk 2, so we again type clean, and cleaning is done. Now cleaning means there are no partitions at all on these drives. So now we want to create partition primary on the first drive we wiped, and now we do the second one. Select disk 0 and create partition primary. Okay, this is done, this is done. Now, as you can see, both drives are NBR, not marked in the GPT option. So we need to convert disk 2 to GPT. So we select disk 2, because this is the NVMe, and we type convert GPT. Oh, oh, okay. Okay, we'll do this later. Okay, drives are wiped and formatted. At least there are partitions available. Now we will need the Hiren's boot pendrive, so I plug it in. Select F11. Oh, sorry about that. There it is. And we select good RAM 4 GB for the Hiren's boot, and we select Windows XP Mini to be loaded. Now I don't need the drivers for the AHCI or RAID or anything like that, because this board does not support it. So my Windows Windows XP Mini will see my MBR drive without any problems. But if you do use AHCI mode or RAID mode on your motherboard, you will have to supply this Windows with AHCI drivers. That's why they are available in my pack. Of course, this is Windows XP, so no USB. This will need a floppy, basically, to do this. Sorry. You may search on the internet, maybe you will have a better solution for this, but I don't have. You also can just use IDE for the time you are doing this, because I think even if you change before, yeah, this should be doable. If your board can do IDE mode in the configuration, in the driver configuration, you should be good. If you do IDE, this will see the drives no problem, even without the drivers on the floppy. Okay, now we have Windows XP. Hooray! Let's install the Clover. So we select my sorry, we have to change the pen drives. It's added. Awesome. This is it. No, sorry, this is the wrong one. Yeah, this is not the one we created. This is the one we created. Too many pen drives. Okay, we have our pen drive we created with NVMe. Now we are using BDU. So this boot utility, we will run it basically to tap, and here we go. Closing this. Now, boot disk utility installs Clover on any drive you pick. So to install it on pen drive, you click on the pen drive. If you want it on hard disk, you pick hard disk. Now, to get hard disks, you need to have enable fixed disk selected. Otherwise, it will not work. You will not see them available to installation. Now, I do not recommend downloading newer version of this program, at least the Clover, from Windows Mini. This usually will not work. If you want the newer version, you need to download it manually. I'm using and I'm adding 4152 version because this is the latest I have, and this is the latest also available at this time. So we go local file, there it is, it's zipped, don't worry, it will unzip it for you. Now these are the options for the format, because Clover will use a small partition on the window, on the drive, so that it will boot from. It will basically steal some of the capacity. Now you can set this here. Basic default is 200 megabytes, and I can live with that. This is a 140 gigabyte drive, so yeah, no problem there. Volume level Clover, default is this, default. You can select anything other than this, but I'm using this, so if it won't work, it's not my fault, it's your fault. So these options are all done and ready. Now saves after DL is something you should use if you want to get the latest version on the normal Windows. It will save it in a folder you select. It's a useful feature, believe me. Okay, so local, Clover, boot record, and 200 megabytes. Okay, now we select our ATA drive and we click format. Yes, we want to format it. All data will be wiped. No. Okay. This will create the second partition, and this is extracting the zip files, and we're done. Now, as you can see, we have two partitions: the 200 megabyte of the Clover variety and 139.5 gigabytes of no name. This isn't formatted yet, and just so you know, installing Clover will rect any data that is on the drive, on every partition of it. This will wipe it, basically. Just as much as I wiped the drives earlier with the clean command. So we have the Clover installed. Now if we close this and go to this Clover partition, we will see we have the FE and few files there, but this will not work yet. Now we need to copy from Clover drivers off folder one particular driver, basically NVMe driver. Without this will not work. So you copy file Nvmexpress.dxe this is, what's this? Oh, 64 anyway. FE from the drivers off folder to drivers 64 and 64 FE on the same folder of Clover. So this must be here and here. In theory, this isn't needed, the Nvmexpress.dxe in 64, but I copy it just in case. Alrighty then, this will enable us to see the NVMe. Now to have the auto booting, you will need my readme file. So again, this is my readme file. Remember to copy DXE 64FE. We did this just now. And we replaced this file already in the Windows, so you can move that on. Now we need to modify config list file. So we go to Clover. This is our Clover partition, FE, Clover, and here we have config list file. Now we open this with Notepad, anything basically, any word processing program can open it. And once we are in here, we need to find default string. So we click Ctrl F to have this, and we type default. Enter or find, and here we go. We have default loader and default volume. So we copy text from my file, default loader and default volume with strings, copy to this config list like this. Now you can use tab key to put this in the right spot. It's not necessary, I just did it because I like everything in line. We save this file, and if you want timeout to be longer, it's set to 5 seconds by default. If you want 10, 15, 30, you can change it in this option. This is 5 for 5 seconds. If you put 15, there will be 15 seconds and so on. It's under timeout, as you can see. Okay, so we did this and we did this. Okay, now we are, I think, ready to rock and roll. So yeah, let's do this. Clover is ready and set. This is Windows restart, and we change, oh no, we don't have to. Okay, I'm using already my pendrive for Windows 7, so it will work. Now if you put the disk drive as the first option, it should load out immediately. And here we go, there is Clover. Now Clover isn't perfect because this is designed for the Macintosh and Hackintosh, as most modders call this, and it will not work from these options, unfortunately. I tried them, they will not work. So you can try them, It may work for you, but it will not work for me. Now to make it work, we exit Clover. This is arrows I'm using, left and right, just so you know. And we select the boot maintenance manager here. I will zoom in so that you can see. There it is. It's the last option. Enter. Now from this menu we pick boot from file. This is the third option from the top. And now we can see two booting options for FE. So we have the Clover. This isn't working right now because it's not set enough yet. And we have our USB drive. So we pick USB drive with Windows 7. Now, as you can see, there are our folders with NVMe drivers and Windows XP HCI drivers and so on. We don't use that here. We will use the file we copied in the Windows after we created this pen drive. So we go to FE, we go to boot, and we select the boot x64 FE. Enter. And when you do this, as you can see, Windows is loading the files. Hooray! Now this is the FE booting, so this will not work, or I should say, you will not be able to install this on MBR drives, just so you know. We have the installer. Okay, let's go next and install our Windows. Okay, I accept the terms, no problem. Now we do custom, because as you can see, Windows can see NVMe driver, NVMe drive, so we need to load our driver. But before I do this, as you can see, Windows cannot be installed on this disk because this is an MBR disk. So no go. You only can install Windows on FE systems onto GPT drives. Yeah. So loading again, browse, we select our pen drive, NVMe, Samsung, and next. Basic stuff, really. We did this before, but we're doing this again. And here we go. Now, right now, again, this is NBR disk, so we click format. Yes, we want to format it. Oh, come on, man. Again, new. This will set up it as GPT, because now we are using FE file. As you can see, we have the system and MSR reserved and so on and so on. Okay, so we click primary partition, 238 gigabytes, and we click install. Of course, you can select other partitions or part it any way you like. For example, 100 gigabytes for the disk and other part of the disk for the games, or how you want to do this. I don't think this is necessary. It's not big enough for capping, but what can I tell you? I can't. I can only show you what works for me. Okay, we will now copy the files. This will take a while. I don't know if anything you should know. I talk this and talk about this. Oh, okay, I think I will just accelerate or cut to the Windows restarting the PC. So see you in a bit. And I'm back. Windows files are ready. Installing updates. This will take a really short. Yeah, it's done. Now restart. I will click restart button manually, and now we should see if auto booting works. So Clover load, and yay, Windows is in Autoboot sequence. Hooray! And as you could see, there was 5 seconds of timeout. Updating registry. Completing installation. Now when it does its thing, I can show you my setup. Now this is the Raptor disk. As you can see, it's basically idle right now, but installation progress bar is doing its thing. So this is this, and this is my setup. Now I'm using fan, because this is a press code for the PGA 478, and those are really hot processors to have, and also it's overclocked. So yeah, I did install this few heatsinks on the coils so that it won't get too hot. This is the summer we are talking about here. Now this is the drive, NVMe drive I'm using. Basic drive. It's really awesome, basic, I can say. Yeah, this is not the stock cooling, but it's quite close. Okay, setup. I think, yeah, setup is done. Oh, come on. Okay. It didn't took that long, right? Oh, just so you know, I'm using, of course, PCIe to M.2 adapter. But it's the 1.09. No, sorry, 1.52A version. This is a generic one, not an Asus or Gigabyte or anything else. Okay, so type a username, PGA478. Next. I don't need a password. We don't need a key. Ask me later about this. Home network, because I got the home network. So yeah, I want my internet. And skip this part. Here we go. Done. Preparing my desktop. How nice. Now this is a Pentium 4 CPU, so you can't do much with it, but yeah, it works. As you can see, we installed Windows 7 or NVMe drive using Pentium 4 in the PGA 478 socket. Okay, now I didn't copy it here, but in the next video I will show you how to use offline Windows update service, so that we can update this without taking a long time for the Windows Update standard version to get its ass in the gear, let's say. Okay, now I only want to show you that I didn't cheat. I don't know how I could do this, but yeah. So CPU Z. Oh, come on. CPU Z for Windows. And download. Okay. And this time I will use, why not? We will use again the crystal disk info. And crystal disk mark. Okay, now info is here. Run. Yes. Download. Multitasking. It's not that hard. Okay, and we go here. And here. Save. Back. And we select the point this 522 and download complete, save, run, Yes. Sorry about the planes and cars. I have to open the window because there is so hot here. Okay. Install, yes, 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 and launch. Now we can close this, and we have our crystal disk. So again, 1 test count, and we do the C drive and go. $785 megabytes. Now this is less than it was before, and it's quite obvious why. This is bone stock Windows 7 SP1, no updates, no whatsoever. So yeah, it's not doing that great, or at least not as good as fully updated one I was using recently in the beginning of this video. So yeah, well, at least the 4K is about where it was, but those are not. Yeah, this is around what it was before, 720 megabytes. Sequential write. Yeah, 676. As you can see, this is not even close. This is a lot lower than it should be. But again, this is bone stock SP1 Windows 7. Okay, all tests are completed. So there we go, the info. And we will change the advanced features raw values to deaths, because we count in tens and not in hexadecimal code, right? So yeah, this is my Raptor X, nothing changed, and C drive is Samsung SM961. Okay. It works, no problems there. So I will restart the system so that you guys can again see how it works, and I will pause on the important parts. So again, I'm using Pentium 4, 3.54 gigahertz with 3.5 gigs of memory, because this chipset can't support 4 gigs all. This is a 32-bit chipset, and this is our hard drive I'm using to boot from our Clover. Now if I select the F11 key, now it goes right to the disk. Oh well. Yeah, so now we have the Clover. As you could see, for the second there was the timeout period present, so it works. Now we can select manually whatever we want to boot from. This is the FE boot for the Microsoft Windows. It can also be called the Windows Boot Manager, just so you know. If we want to manually do this, we can. We exit Clover, we go to Boot Maintenance Manager, the last option. This selects our options and we go boot from the file, and here we have two options. First one is for the Clover, we don't need that here, and second is no label, so we select that. This is our NVMe, FE again, boot, and this is our boot x64. Oh yeah, this is the basic one. Oh crap, okay, sorry about that. Ow. Yeah. If you got this error, it means the file is not updated, just so you know. The file that we updated, the boot x64.fe. So again, this, as you can see, automatic boot, 3, 2, 1, go, and it works. Magic. It's like magic. Sorry about that, I forgot. This file is only changed on the yeah, so no, you can't do that in the manual mode. Well, let's see. Oh come on, I don't want this. Oh man, yeah. Again, let's go here and Windows boot FE, and yeah, this is the file that's used in the booting sequence for the Clover, so that's not what we want. Damn, where is it? Well, maybe it's a thing for another video. Alright, now I will change the name of the drive to Windows 7 or the 7, so that I know what's there. And let's format the rest of the quick. Yes, yay, we have the Raptor. Oh right, I can show you. So this is the NVMe. Now here, this is the Raptor X I'm using. It's not loaded yet. No. 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 Oh, I didn't check the... Oh, crap. 5 tests is too much. Better idea. I will use HD Tune Pro. Oh damn, I'm too fast for this. Oh, poor Pentium 4. Okay, let's do this with this. This is a trial version. We don't need we don't need anything more for this. Yes. Next. Create desktop icon and launch. Awesome. 15 days. That's also nice. Okay, now if I do random access, you will hear the drive working. So there you go. That's how loud it is. Now I will show you how the head is moving. It's crazy! Look at it! This is working hard! Now, that was the 64-bit, the 64 kilobyte test. This is the 1 megabyte one. Wow! It's going at it. This is how the goes. Yeah, quite nice. Access time 6, 8, 9 milliseconds average. Now this is the random test. Yay! Done! So how did we do? Well, we did quite good. This is for a standard HDD, I mean. Yeah, 23 milliseconds top on the random sorry, not random, for the 1 megabyte test, and the random goes to 17.47. Yeah, okay. Max access time 37 milliseconds, 37 and a half. Now, how good can a NVMe be? Let's see. And done. As you could hear, there was nothing. So NVMe works like a charm, and yeah, it wrecks, absolutely wrecks this hard drive apart. I mean, 30,000 IOPS in the 512 byte and 25,500 IOPS for the 4K. The drive, hard drive could do 120. Yeah, this is not even a contest right now. And as you can see, the read speeds are 737 and 716. Yeah, NVMe, man, NVMe is great. Okay, this is all I got for you now. So I will shut the PC. But there is one last thing. Just so you know that I am using a Pentium 4. I will show you guys my CPU. So this is the cooling. It's quite big. Yeah. 80 millimeters, I think. And here we have the CPU. Now let me clean it from the thermal paste. There we go. Oh. Let's zoom it a bit. Oh, there it is. I try to... there it is. This is the one I shot. Yeah. As you can see, 3.2 gigahertz, 1 megabytes of L2 cache, and SL7 QB. Yeah, this is my CPU. Awesome. And there are the pins, right? Yay. This is all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. 1.5 hours. Wow. Okay. See you on the next one.